Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brownstone. I'm your host, Dr. Michele, and you're listening to Numbers Don't Lie. We learn to get out your feelings so you can make the best decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. Well, today is not like no other. We have a very special guest that's going to educate us. I love learning, and I know you guys love it too. So we're going to be talking to someone that's in AI because that's sexy in the data world. Everyone's talking about AI, using ChatGPT. But I think sometimes we limit what AI actually is. We only know the very small things that we have access to or the very small things that our inner circle is using. So no, ChatGPT is not the only thing that you can use to work smarter. There's so many other things. And honestly, the world and the opportunities are endless when it comes to technology. And so I have a guest that's going to break some of that down and what does it mean for small business owners? Like how can they actually use it for real, not just when they want to create content. So we're going to have a good time today. And I met this guest on social media. Social media. So, for all of you that are scared to put something out there, this is your small reminder that it is okay to put it out there what you do because there are people out there that are waiting for you, that are waiting to work with you, partner with you, collaborate, make money with you. So, let's just open up. Okay, don't be afraid. Open up, post something, tell people what you do. So, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our special guest. I'm very excited about this conversation. So, please welcome to the Numbers Don't Lie stage, Marvin McKinney.
Thank you so much for introducing me. I'd like to start by thanking you for having me on the show today. I've been following you on social media, been really inspired by you as well. So thank you again. I am Marvin McKinney, the founder and CEO of Savvy Analytics. We are a data analytics and AI strategy company. What we do is streamline processes for our clients to make their life more easy. So essentially what I think I'm selling back to clients is their time, right? So that's the most precious thing you can have. You can always earn your money back, but what you can't get back is your time.
Let's go.
Right.
I gotta put my air horn on. Pew, 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 pew. Yes, because I don't know if you know, like, if you felt like this when you went to entrepreneurship, like the idea that, like, okay, I'll be able to have my own time. I can be on the beach when I want to be. But when you enter,
The complete
you're
opposite.
working harder, working on weekends, nights, holidays. It's like, wait, I'm supposed to be chilling. I'm supposed to have my, be in charge. I have more freedom on my 9 to 5. So I'm glad that you out here selling time because we need it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a huge thing for business owners, right? You need that time back because you're thinking about ideating for your business. You're thinking about how to acquire new customers, and then you have to do the actual work. And if you're starting out, you don't have a huge, a lot of employees, then what are you going to do, right? You need to get your time back so you can think about focusing on your business itself.
I love that. So
Yeah.
we're gonna dive in. So I know y'all already leaning in because as entrepreneurs, y'all running around doing everything. You had a marketing, you had a sales, you are HR, you are hitting the streets, you're speaking, you're doing all the things. And so I know you're excited, like I am, to hear how we can have technology help us while we're in that small stage. And I do want to say, even if you're a larger business that has multiple employees, I listen. I don't know about you, Marvin, but I actually listen like in the time I'm in rooms and
Yeah.
they're trying to find ways to cut costs.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Some people let people go, and that's a harsh reality, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
And so like if they're trying to cut costs and save money too, you're not any different. So let's
Right.
go. Let's get this. Okay. So based on your experience, what's a common misconception that business owners have about using AI?
So let's start off with it's here to take jobs, right? So that's a business decision at the end of the day. So what AI is here for in automation is here should be here to streamline your current workloads and really improve what you're already doing, right? So if you decide that, hey, we don't need to hire anyone new, that's the business decision because we're going to add this automation on. Or if you decide that you're going to let someone go, unfortunately, that's also a business decision because you found a more efficient way to do something. But um, it's a tool at the end of the day. So the same way when we had accountants, right? So when you first introduced calculators, did that take away accountants' jobs? No, it made their job more efficient, right? When we got Excel, did that take away their jobs? No, it made their jobs more efficient. So you have to think about AI and automation that same way. It's a tool to make your job more efficient, and it will cut down on the things that you hate to do so you don't have to do them, and make your it's supposed to make your life easier, at the end of the day. Another common misconception is that it's absolutely infallible. So I'm a huge fan of keeping a human in the loop at all times, right?
Mm-hmm.
AI is not infallible. And something that you always preach on your channel is that garbage in, garbage out, right? So you have to be aware of the data that you're putting into these models and be aware that if the data isn't good, your outcomes aren't going to be good either, right? So you can have great improvements with these tools, but it will not be perfect. It's only as good as your data and only as good as the model itself.
That's good. I love that because I hear that all the time, like, oh, AI is gonna take our jobs. But I'm like, we because we think about just the evolution of a society or civilization. Like there was a time
Mhm.
when people were doing everything manually and we enjoy the luxuries of not having to do that anymore. And
Right,
so like but when we're living through it, it's like it's a threat to us. And it is what it is. Like I love how you say it's a business decision. People are
right,
always going to try to find a way to increase their profitability. That means increasing their revenue and or decreasing their expenses.
right,
But how can you, and I know this not this episode about, but I just want to put it out there for the listeners. How can you make yourself invaluable? Like what is it that you can do and offer that makes you indispensable? It may not be what you're doing your current job, but it may be a gift or talent that you have that you can still use to make money and be valuable to another business if it comes up. Okay, I just had to say that because we people get scared, and I don't want people to live in
right,
fear that robots are taking over. I'm like, nah, somebody still gotta charge the robots. You know what
right.
I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the other thing I like to dispel the myth of is that this fear of this it being alive or sentient, we're nowhere near it being, self-aware or anything like that. And if someone's trying to
Mm-hmm.
sell you on that, even these large corporations don't buy that for a second. What you need to be aware of is the people who are building it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the fear that we should have. It's like who's in control of these tools and how
That's
are they
good.
using them? Is it going to be used for betterment of people, or is it going to be used irresponsibly, which could be
Mm.
detrimental, right? So
Now,
yeah.
that's a great perspective. So that brings us to our next question. So, what challenges do small to medium enterprises face when they want to get into analytics and AI? Like, what problems can it actually solve?
So the biggest problem they can solve is inefficient processes, right? So it's say you have a process that's taking an hour to 2 hours a day. Um, what could you be doing with that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could be meeting with your customers, you could be meeting with employees, you could be thinking about new revenue streams, right? So one of the biggest challenges is getting those processes automated so you don't have to like sit down and do this every single day. You can think about it like say you have to look at like papers manually, say you have to like check off things on a paper. You have tools out there that uses OCR, optical character recognition, that can read that and do what you have to do manually and check it off and does it more efficiently, right? So you're not making the mistake of, hey, I missed something on this paperwork, right? Because depending on what industry you're in, that could come back to you if you miss like something on that paperwork, right?
Yeah,
There's regulations for that. So that's what those tools are there for, to make your job more efficient and to make sure you're not making those steps. Again, you still want to keep a human in the loop to make sure that's done correctly, but it's there to like streamline those processes for you and give you back your time.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I love like being in data. I think it pairs really well with when we talk about automation and tech because I see like this is how my brain thinks, y'all. So I see like information and I see how it gets used. Kind of like I can see the process of like, okay, use it here. We're gonna make these decisions. So it's a chain of decisions that get made based on the few pieces of information that you get to put into it. So I love how you said it can make your job more efficient. So for example, for those of you that take sales calls,
Right.
this is like my easiest example that most business owners can relate to. Like, especially when you're doing it on, you're the sales team and you're the manager of the sales team. Like, you're everything. And people will, especially if you have ads running and it's cold traffic, they will book a call and not show up. Or they will book a call and they are not who you really want to be talking to. Like, I remember when I was doing financial coaching back in the day, I asked somebody like, "Yeah, I want to write a book." What are you telling me for? But if I had some process set up that helps route the right people to
Right.
my call, as
Yeah.
opposed to having this person on my calendar, getting excited this could be a potential sale. And I
Waste-
get on a call with them and I end up wasting my time. They didn't, it's not always malicious on their part,
Right, right.
but you didn't have any processes set up to help filter that out to preserve your time. And so that's a very simple example of what Marvin is saying. Like there are just certain things you can do to save your time. And then it's boring. And then certain things are boring, like for real, certain things are boring and monotonous. So it's just like if I could have technology do it for me, I can go spend time with my family, or I can, like you said, go be meeting with prospective clients. So
Right. That's exactly right. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. So like I was saying before, you cannot get back your time, right? That time you wasted talking to someone, you could have been doing something else. So that's the most precious thing we have as people is your time. So you want to be able to save that and use it wisely because you never know what you're going to be facing during the day. So why not save your
absolutely.
time and automate it, have it something else done, and just replace that.
I remember one time I was doing a challenge and I had already set, like, I had taken the time to set up all my emails, like to schedule them out. And it might have been like on a nice little workflow. And so I'm at this event because I'm like, I'm not going to have time while I'm there to do it. Because you, in your mind, you will. But the next, it's 10 o'clock at night and you ain't send the email out. And so I had scheduled out my little workflow when the emails are going to go out. So I'm at this event enjoying myself. And one of my friends, he's like, I just got your email. I'm like, okay. He was like, but you're right here. Like, yeah, I scheduled it. Like
Right.
it's gonna do what I told it to do. Like I did it like a week ago. He was just but this was like a few years ago. So he was just like, I don't get like, how are you here?
It's magic, right?
It's magic. But that's the power of technology
Yeah,
is, being able to, like you said, buy your time back. So I could be wherever I need to be, networking, having a good time, enjoying family and friends, and it's
exactly.
doing what I needed to do. Did you know that data-driven organizations were 19 times more profitable? 19. You heard me right. Perhaps you're asking, what is data-driven and how do I become one of those organizations? I'm so glad you asked. I want you to go take a quiz. It's a simple, quick quiz to help you assess if you are in fact one of those organizations. Head over to mogulbeginnings.com/data into dollars quiz now. That's mogulbeginnings.com. You can just go to mogulbeginnings.com and it'll show you the data into dollars quiz. Take it now. You'll see if you're on your way to 19xing your profitability. You're listening to Numbers Don't Lie on KCCR Cityscape. We hope you're enjoying the tunes and all the jams. Make sure you visit our website over at brownstoneworldwide.com to learn about all things Brownstone. You can check out Brownstone Living Magazine and all the great things that we have on the website, as well as the shop. You just got to head over to the website, brownstoneworldwide.com.
Keeping it locked to KCCR Radio,
my station,
the Brownstone Center. And don't forget, no matter where you go, there we are.
Okay, so can you give us an example, like if you have a personal example about how automation or AI has transformed a client's business?
Absolutely. So I'll use an example of a mortgage company. So
Ooh.
they had a process that was taking 2 hours. So you take files from a SharePoint, you drag it and you drop it, and you have like 20, 30 like files like that. And it takes a lot of time because you think about it, you have to actually go inside the program, take the file out, drag it to the file, and they're adding more and more, files to do. So going to that's going from an hour now, an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's like, okay, you have to do something more efficient than that. So I went in, looked at the process, understood how the process was working, where that data was coming from, where the files are going. And I took that process and reduced it down to a few seconds, right? So think about that. That was just like with scripting, right? Just like a little coding script. Think about how many hours you've already saved with that. That is a 90 to 99% time increase or time save with your process. Now you have all this time to do whatever else you need to do in the morning and not have to drag these files in. And who wants to do that, right? Who wants to sit there in the morning? You haven't drank your coffee or anything like that. You have to come in, drag it in, drop it, go in, drag it, drop it. And by the time you're already tired and worn out, then they're asking you to do something else right after that. And your mind is like gone, right? Because you're worn down. And human beings, you can only do so many things and you
Yeah.
start getting monotonous. Your brain starts getting tired and you end up making mistakes when you're doing that. When it's automated, you don't have to worry about that at all. So yeah.
Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, what? And so that's what I was alluding to when during the intro,
Yeah.
that a lot of us as business owners and even just, everyday Americans, we literally just think about AI and technology, just chat GPT. Like, oh yeah, it helped me write his email.
Right.
Oh, it helped me do this. But I'm like, y'all, it's so much bigger. Because what he said, you notice he did not mention I use chat GPT to help me do this.
Not once.
So it's technology, it's automation. And I love that. And so let me just go ahead and have you just give your contact info now, because I know some ears just perked up. So can
Right.
you tell people where to find you? Because I know they're like, I want a 99% return back on my time.
Right. So you can find me at my website is www.savvy SAVVY analytics analytics.info. And I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, and that's at savvyanalytics.info as well. Best way to contact me is via the website or LinkedIn. That's my fastest turnaround time.
Awesome. Because
Yeah.
listen, I'm like, okay, what process can I eliminate?
There's a turning, right?
Right.
I'm gonna give
And
you
that's honestly the point of this podcast, is to open up business owners that there are better ways to do things. There are more efficient ways to do things. Part of it is, your use of data.
right.
And other part of it is technology, but there are better ways to do things. We want you to be able to have that life that you dreamed about when you decide to become an entrepreneur.
Right. Exactly.
So, how do you approach introducing new technology and these solutions to teams that may be resistant to change? And just a little plug, I did a podcast episode about that, resistance to change. And
Yeah.
we were really talking about the mindset, but I'm really curious to like, how do you approach that mindset of those individuals?
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah, there's always that. This is the way we've been doing it for years, and
Mm-hmm.
why are we going to change it? There's nothing wrong with the process. That those type of people. The thing you want to do with them is introduce, and this is just introducing any type of technology. You want to introduce incremental changes, right? So take those low hanging fruits, something they don't really like to do, and just take it off their plate. It's like that's fine. We're not going to make a huge like change right now, but hey, that process that you have to do every single day, we're just gonna go ahead and automate that for you, and then you can spend your time doing something else. So introduce something that's low hanging, that's not going to cause a big shock to their system, so that way they can see how it's working in real time. Because a lot of times it's just they haven't been exposed to that technology, and it
Right.
can be scary because they're thinking, okay, sometimes they're thinking you're trying to replace me, right? You're introducing this new thing, you're trying to replace me. That's always the thing I heard in implementing automation. Oh, you're gonna like get everyone fired. It's like, no, we're just trying to get you to make your life a little bit better. I'm not trying to get anybody fired. That's not my goal in life. Because if people aren't working, then that's not good for me either, right? So like you need to have those. I need you here. Right. So those things are introduced just in an incremental change, like for example, you can have like a low code, no code tool that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
easy for them to use. And that's the other thing. It's like they're thinking, I'm gonna have to learn this entirely new technology. That's when you come and partner with someone like me, like, hey, you don't have to do this by yourself. I'll set it up for you and I'll just like show you how it's done and get it set up. If you want training so you can be like trained later on, or if you just want me to set it up and just like put it on autopilot, right? I'll do that for you. That's the other thing. It's the resistance to change because they're afraid of like what happens to their job, or afraid of like learning new technology, and that they don't feel that control anymore, right? It's a
Mm.
loss of control sometimes you feel as introducing new technology. So introduce the change incrementally, something simple so they can see it in real time, and how that can impact their business positively.
That's good. That is real. Like that loss of control. I hadn't even thought about it from that perspective. That like I've seen it with my own eyes. In
Right.
like a lot of times, no shade, but a lot of times when it's a lot of times the older generation, because they have been working there so long,
Right.
and like you said, this is how we always do it. Everyone always comes to me for this. I do this. I do that. Yeah, I could totally see it playing out like that. And I
Right.
know for us, like just kind of again, personal experience, just when you're, I think it works best. And this is, this is a little hack that y'all could do on teams that are already overwhelmed. Because
Right.
if they have like, and I've seen this where you have so many things, you have this huge backlog, and
Exactly.
they're just like, there's no way we're going to get this done in a timely fashion, or it's going to take us to like 6 months to really clear this out, or we're always going to be behind. We've always been behind. That may be the low hanging fruit opportunity to just give them an idea like, oh, you can catch up.
Mhm.
Let us help you catch up. And then it may be a little pushback, but once they see they're catching up and that like they can breathe and they don't have to work on nights and weekends, they're like, oh, there may be something to this. And they become your biggest champions. And a lot
Right.
of times when you're working in those environments, like I was just having this conversation the other day, when you're working those environments, a lot of time you need champions for change. You know what I mean? Like it can't just be, oh,
Exactly.
this is how we're going to do things. It has to be like somebody at the top and probably somebody at the bottom, like really saying, no, this is a good thing. This is what you need somebody to give a testimony. You know what I'm saying? Like you need a testimony service. The same way we have testimonies with our clients, you need a
Right.
testimony from your own, like inside to say, no, this is how it worked for our team. Like, I think it's be really great for the company. And, like allow that ice to fall off of them, like that hardness to come off. But you just got to be patient with people and give them grace.
Right. The other thing you want to do is make sure that they feel like they're part of that change too, right? So
Yes.
oftentimes you're throwing in change and people just feel like things are happening to them. That goes back into that not having control, not participating. Make sure they're included in like, hey, like what are your challenges? What are you struggling with? Like what are you having issues with? And like talk to like have a like roundtable, talk to them about it. Like you were saying, like, those teams that are having a lot of issues and problems, they include them in those conversations so you
Mhm.
understand where their challenges are, and then you can start applying those changes and those tools to what their challenges are, so they feel like, hey, I'm part of this and you're including me and you are concerned about me and not trying to get rid of me just because you're introducing a new tool, right? So
Right. No, I love that. That's always a great idea. So I do have a background in education,
mhm,
and that was always an issue that teachers have is that someone's always telling them what to do. Like
mm,
this is what we're gonna. This is the new mandate. You do
right,
this. We're gonna
right,
introduce a new curriculum. You just have to teach it, and nobody ever asked the teachers.
right.
No one ever consulted them, and a lot of times they were like, "This is dumb. Like why are we
Exactly.
doing it this way? Had you asked us, we would have told you what the best way to deal with our students or whatever." So no one likes, especially adults, no one
Right.
likes to be told what to do. Like it's got to feel like it's your idea too. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right,
just our nature as adults, especially as Americans. We think we know
right.
best. If we're being real, we think
Yeah,
we know best. And so we have somebody coming in and tell us that what we're doing is not the best.
right.
That's an automatic neck roll. That's an automatic attitude.
Work, right.
So I love that, including people. I mean,
Right,
that really is a part of change management is like, it can't just be a mandate. You have to get people on board.
exactly.
You kind of already mentioned this a little bit, but I do want to lean into it a little more in terms of ROI. So you already mentioned this example, like they saw what 99% return of their time.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about think about time and money here. So what should a business or could a business expect from adopting more automation in their business?
Absolutely. So I wanted to give some numbers as well. So just annually from the Houston Business Journal, small businesses and medium-sized businesses lose about 600 billion annually by not implementing automation, so using outdated processes. And 7 days per month they lose. So that's an entire week.
My goodness.
Okay. So now let's get down to the actual numbers you can um, like actually save. It's going to be nuanced depending on what your business are, but let's think about the different tools you're using, right? You're using multiple tools, spending money on that. If you can consolidate that into one tool, you've saved money on however many tools you're using. Let's say you're spending $2,000 on per month on like 5 or 6 tools. Why not condense that down to one tool and say yourself,
Mhm.
right? So as far as like time investment, if you're spending like for the example of the mortgage company, 2 hours, 3 hours on a process, well, now you saved equivalent of that 3 hours per week, 2 hours per week, which can save you like an entire week every month, right? So
Wow.
that's huge savings, huge like return on investments when you're investing in these tools, right? So you want to think about how much you're spending, what tools are redundant, these data silos, you want to condense that down, make sure it's automated, you're not doing it manually. You also get a return on investment on like mistakes not made. So you have an industry that requires you not to make a lot of mistakes, like finance, health insurance, something like that. You don't want to make mistakes with those type of
Right.
roles. And not to say that humans are, you hire someone, they're going to be terrible at it, but you're going to enhance your productivity, enhance your accuracy with a tool like automation. That way you can go through it quicker, make sure it's more accurate, right? So again, it's not going to be perfect because it's only as good as the tool, and it's AI is still a tool built by people. So it's going to have those inefficiencies sometimes, but it's going to greatly improve your processes. So expect, if your processes are taking an hour, so expect 80%, 90% increase in like your efficiency of your workload. So those are things that return in your investment.
It sounds like to me, this is, I don't know if you heard this, listeners, this is what I heard. It sounds like, some of these employers could give their employees 4-day work weeks. That's what it sounds like to me.
Right.
It sounds like y'all can get the same amount done in 4 days a week.
Right. That's what happens. Like, those are business decisions, right? You can do that, and there's no reason not to do that, right? If you're working smarter, which is this is about, work smarter, make it like easier. So your life should not just be centered around work. Your life, you have families, you have things you want to do, and people you want to see. Work is there to supply needs, but it should not be the sole center of your life. Free up that time to spend time with the things that are most important to you, right?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's for all the people that call millennials and Gen Z lazy. We're not lazy. We want to enjoy life. Work is literally just a means to the ends for. Okay,
Right.
let me get off my soapbox. But they be liking to call, and I be advocating for Gen Z. You know what I'm saying? They want to call them lazy so bad. I'm like, no, they are enjoying their life. They want to be able to travel and do things.
Right.
That's all we came here to talk about. So I love this. I love that. I'm a fan of the 4-day work week. So employers everywhere.
I'm there with you. Sign me up.
Right.
3
So
days.
You said 3?
3
And in I can't remember which country, but there's some countries in Europe that do 4-day work weeks. And they were saying like they've seen no difference in their productivity. And even during when COVID hit, everyone assumed like they're gonna be at home, they're gonna be sleeping, they're gonna be napping, they're gonna do everything but work. But like, no, like productivity did not change. And some people it increased.
Right. So, and that never made sense to me, because if you think about it, you're working from home, you're going to, first thing you wake up and do is get some coffee, get some food, and start working. When you're having to go into work, you're wasting time driving in. So you already you had to go talk to people, you're wasting more time. So that it still doesn't make sense to me, like how working in the office is going to increase productivity. Again, that's control, right?
Yep, I was about to say that. That's that micromanaging spirit.
Exactly.
They want to keep you like, because I mean, I've been in the office and scrolling on my phone. So you just can't see me do it.
Right. The only difference is you're not going to be able to see me while I'm doing it. I'm going to do the exact same thing. If you want to do something, you're going to find a way to do it, right? So it doesn't matter if you are in the office. So yeah, just doesn't make sense. But yeah, those countries like Spain, and they have siestas, they take a few hours off, which you should do, right? Because they understand life, like work is just there to supply you money for your life, right? You should be able to enjoy life, enjoy time with your family. That's the most important things for you.
So one more time, please tell us where to find you.
Absolutely. I am at www.hello, oh, sorry, that's my email, www.savvy, SAVVY, analytics, ANALYTICS.info. And my email is hello@savvyanalytics.info. You can find me on Facebook, you can find me on LinkedIn, and you can find me on Instagram at savvyanalytics.info as well.
Awesome. Well, guys, again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Numbers Don't Lie. I'm your host, Dr. Michele. It's been a pleasure. I love learning just like y'all do. So I might have to talk to Marvin about some things, you know what I'm saying? I need to free myself up. I need to think more.
Right.
But thanks again for tuning in. You can find me on social media. You can Google me. I'm at all things Mogul Beginnings. That's MOGUL, Mogul Beginnings. And make sure you reach out to us at the Brownstone. We're telling our stories our way. So you can go to brownstoneworldwide.com. has tons of things. You got magazine, article. I actually, I'm a published author, multiple things. I have articles that come out in Brownstone Living magazine each month. So there's so many opportunities to plug in as a business owner and as a consumer. We have advertising opportunities. It's so much. So go check out brownstoneworldwide.com. And again, thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.